आज मनमै नराख
My name is Aditi, and today we will be talking about a very powerful and a popular document formatting software called the Latex. Today, I will be briefing you about what exactly is LaTeX, how it is different from Microsoft Word and Google Doc. Then, we will be going through some basic commands so that you will be able to create your own first LaTeX document. So, let's begin. So before starting, what exactly is, before going to commands, we will see what exactly is LaTeX. LaTeX is not a normal text editor like Microsoft Word or Google Doc. It is basically a document preparation system, which means instead of directly formatting your text by clicking buttons, you write commands that describe your content and LaTeX produce a perfectly formatted document, which is usually a PDF. So, like in Word and Google Doc, you have buttons. So, if you want to format something, you click on those buttons and the formatting happens. Whereas in LaTeX, you write some simple codes for the formatting to happen. You manually don't do anything. LaTeX automatically formats it for you. You just tell LaTeX what exactly has to be done and it will be done by it automatically. So, what is basically the difference between a Google Doc, Microsoft Word, and a LaTeX? Basically, our doc and Word files goes by the approach what you see is what you get. Let me explain. So, in a Google Doc, you type something, you highlight it, you click on the bold button, you change the font, and you can immediately see the result on screen. That is, what you see is what you get. Whatever you are seeing on the screen is what you will be getting as the final output. Whereas LaTeX goes by the approach what you see is what you meant. You write a plain text with commands and then compile it. The final PDF will look neat and professional with all formatting handled automatically. Let me explain it in a much deeper way. So LaTeX use what you see is what you meant approach. Like if you write this tag called section, the introduction will be formatted as sections are formatted. You just have to mention the tag section. If you want to bold some content, you have to use the tag textdf. So you just have to tell LaTeX what kind of a formatting you want and it will do it automatically rather than you doing it manually. So, how LaTeX is basically much more powerful than a Word or a doc file. So, if you're writing some short reports, doc or a Word can be a great choice. But if you are writing long reports or you want to create a thesis which consists of hundreds of pages, in this case, LaTeX comes handy. You spend more of your time writing the content rather than thinking about how the formatting has to happen. So, in in general, in short, in a Word or a doc file, you not just have to look into the content, what is going into the document, but also the formatting is a headache. You have to take care of the formatting manually. Whereas in LaTeX, you spend most of your time writing the content rather than formatting because the formatting is done automatically. Now, let's go to some commands which are basically and generally used, commonly used, if I would say, in LaTeX. So, the LaTeX has two parts, the preamble and the body. Suppose, assume the preamble to be a recipe. You write down the ingredients that is needed to make the document. And the body is basically the food or the item that you are cooking itself. Suppose you want to cook a cake. The preamble is basically the recipe, what are the ingredients needed for the cake, whereas the body is the cake itself. The body is the content or is the part of the latex which where you put all the contents that you want to be displayed. Anything you want to display in your PDF is basically comes between the begin document and end document tab. So let's do some hands on these codes. So for LaTeX, what you have to do, you go to Overleaf. Overleaf is basically an online platform where you can run LaTeX code automatically without installing any other dependency. So you click on Overleaf, you click on New Project, and you click on Blank Project. Right, LaTeX tutorial, and you click on Create. So it will create a LaTeX file automatically. So let's now talk about the overview of the overleaf, the display overview. So the overleaf is basically divided into two parts. Your overleaf homepage or the LaTeX file is basically divided into two parts. In the right side, you can see the PDF version, and in the left side, you basically write the code. The code comes, this is the code part, and this is whatever you have written in the code is displayed as a PDF path in the PDF form in the right hand side. If you want to download your PDF, you click on this button, download PDF. If you want to change the layout, like at this point of time, I have both editor and the PDF in the same display. If you want to have PDF in a separate tab, you click on that option. So you have LaTeX in one tab and PDF in other tab. For convenience, I will put editor and PDF in the same display. So now let's see some commands in LaTeX. So the first command that we will be learning is the document class. The document class basically defines what kind of a document it is. Is it a report? Is it a letter? Is it an article? Or is it slides? So we will start with article. So my document class basically defines what my document is. It defines the type of the document. Now, as I said earlier, whatever you want to display in your PDF has to come inside this tab called begin, inside this tag called document. So this document tag has a begin and has an ending tag. Anything that you want to display on in your PDF has to come inside these two tags. So let's write a text. Okay, this is my first tutorial. Now I want to display, hey, this is my first tutorial into my PDF. So now after writing the content, I basically click this button called recompile. So it will compile my LaTeX text and you are able to see, hey, this is my first tutorial in your PDF. Cool. Now, as you can see, this document doesn't have any title, author name or date. So it looks a little bit unfinished. So to give it a much more polished look, we will add title, author name and the date to this PDF. So I use a tag called author and I write inside the bracket, I write the name. I also want the title. So I use the tag called title to give the title of my document, which is my tutorial. Now, if you want to add date, you again have this tab called date. Put 28 August 2025. Now, you hit the button recompile. As you can see, there is no changes in the PDF. The title, author and date is not visible in the PDF. This is because, as I said earlier, whatever you want to display in your PDF has to come inside the tab begin document and end document. So now to make sure that these title, author and date are displayed, we use this tab called make title. And then we recompile it again. This title has to come above because we recompile it. Now you can see the title has come, the name has come, and the date has come. And you can see how beautifully Latex has formatted it without us taking the headache of formatting it. So this is how basically Latex works. Now we will use some other concepts called section, subsection, bold and italic to format our document in a better way. So let's again go back to LaTeX. Now if you want to comment something in LaTeX, you want to write a comment, you use a percentage sign and you write a comment. Section and subsection. So now we will be using the section and subsection tag. Now in my document, I want a section. So to introduce a section, we write the tag section. And inside we write the heading of the section. I write introduction 1. Then if I want another section, I again write section and I will write intro. I will write literature review. This is basically the heading of my section. So here I have two sections, one with the heading introduction, two with the heading literature review. Now we will hit recompile. You can see LaTeX has formatted it the way sections are formatted. It has perfectly numbered it without us explicitly numbering it. So now, if you want, now let's have some section, subsection. Let's write some content over here. This is the main introduction section. And then we have inside this section, let's have a subsection. We use the tag subsection and the heading of the subsection is this is subsection. Now we again hit recompile and as you can see it has perfectly formatted the subsection. The serial number of this section introduction is 1 and as this is a subsection for this introduction, the serial number is 1.1. So without us explicitly formatting it, LaTeX is doing all these things by itself. Good. Now let's do some text editing. Let's do text editing or formatting. Now suppose I want to make my text bold. So I write this tag called text, BF. BF for stands for bold font, and I write the content that I want to be bold. This is example of bold font. This is an example of bold font, and I click on recompile. See, the text has been bold over here. Now, if I want to italicize, I click on text IT, basically stand for italicize, and right, this is an example of italic font, and we click on compile. We'll see that the font has been italicized. There are other formatting tools, but for today only, we will be sticking to how to make a font bold and how to make it italicized. Now, the next thing that is very much commonly used in LaTeX is writing a list. So, the list can have bullet items or numbered items. So, there are two ways of basically creating a list. List. So if you want bullet points, then you use the tag called itemize. Right. Begin, and then you write itemize. So you start with the tag begin, use the tag itemize, and it will have a corresponding ending tag called end itemize. Now each bullet point basically, or each point in your list starts with the tag item. You write item, and then you write whatever text you want. This is the first item. For the next point, you start with item and you write the text. This is the second item, and you put full stop. And when you recompile it, this will come in bullet points. So this is a list which comes in a bullet point. Now suppose rather than bullet points, you want to number it like 1, 2. So for that, you use the tag begin and you use the tag enumerate. Rather than itemize, you use enumerate. And you do repeat the same process. For each point, you start with the tag item and you write the text that you want. It's the first item, and then this is the second item, and you recompile it. Recompile it, and you can see that this is a list with numbers, and this is a list with bullets. So these are basically the formatting tools by which you can create a small document. These commands can be used to create your first document. You can, so let's revise it once more. Everything that you want to display basically comes inside these two tags, begin document and end document. If you want to add a section, you use the word section and then you put the heading. If you want to use a subsection, you put the tag subsection and then inside the bracket the headings. If you want to bold a font, you use text BF. For italicizing it, you use text IT. If you want to create a list with bullet points, you use the tab called begin itemize, which will have an end itemize. And every bullet point will be basically preceded by the tab item. Similarly, if you want a list which is a numbered list, You start with the word enumerate, you use the tag enumerate, and before writing your point, you precede it by using ite. So this way, you will be basically able to generate a small doc file for yourself. In the next class, we will be talking about how to insert images in a LaTeX file, how to write complex equation, and more about other formatting.